you will be confronted with so many obstacles that will leave you questioning your own sanity. You're going to feel like everyone's against you. You're going to feel betrayed. You're going to lose trust in people. You're going to be scarred for life. But it's how you bounce back up and it's how you fight through that will determine what your character arc will be in this quest, in this story of your own life.
That was Austin Toloza of Hyper Strength and Conditioning in San Jose, California. Great interview coming up for you. A lot of fun, and you're going to learn a lot of cool stuff as well. Welcome to Health in the Real World.
It's the Health in the Real World podcast. It's time to start the show with Chris Janke as your host. Here to give you everything that you need when it comes to fitness strategies. We keep it simple and easy. It's your roadmap to get healthy. You don't need equipment and you don't need a gym. Just the right strategies to get you fit and trim.
Health in the Real World podcast brought to you by My Core Balance. What do you think your body would look and feel like if you continued to move like you did when you were a kid? Not the exact same movements necessarily, but what if you felt the same way that you did about exercise that you did when you were a kid? Go to mycorebalance.com, sign up for our monthly $15 a month plan, and you get $1.50 off, I believe, because it's 10%. when you enter the promo code podcast. All right, folks, we have Austin
Toloza.
Yeah,
Toloza.
Austin Toloza. What do you tell your clients, though, as far as what is the most important thing? Let's say new person, Homer Simpson, walks in tomorrow and he's like, I've never worked out a day in my life. What do you tell him? Like, all right, obviously come in here 2-3 days a week. And then what? What does he do at home?
So what I tell the new person is we got to set expectation. All right. You're only here 2 or 3 times a week and everything else is going to be on you. So what I do with each of my new people is I sit down with them and I do a full on consult, and a consultation, but I really dig in deep of like, what are your inner desires and stuff like that? Like, what are you trying to do? Why are you trying to lose weight, lose fat? And I'm pretty sure you know that it always comes down to a self-confidence issue. It always comes down to something like, something happened to my family member. Something's happening to me. I want to do this. I want to take action, right? So I want to tap into that. So when they go off on their own, whatever it is, like building better habits one day at a time.
Yeah.
I can give you one of those crazy ass physique diets. You know how those go. And you're like, yeah, you can lose 30 pounds in a week. Yeah. Like,
yeah.
You want to do all that? That's great. We totally have that. But the bigger picture is like, let's get your habits back in action, better habits. Let's start going away from the bad habits that got you to this point where you're asking for help to get your life back on track because you want to live more life and be there for your kids because you didn't think 40 was going to feel like 40 until you turned 40. Right. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I hit 40 4 months ago.
Oh, you don't look 40 though. But that's how I would say. I would just take it one day at a time. Let's focus on consistency. Let's focus on better habits. Let's focus on what you're putting in your body, and then come back at me after that.
I think it's interesting that that you talk to new people like that, and like you mentioned the 30-pound diet, and 30 pounds in a week or whatever crazy diet. The crazy thing about this, I've been a trainer since 2004, and I really thought that the internet was going to completely put personal trainers out of business, like 100%. And then all of a sudden you can just Google, like, how do I da-da-da-da-da. And what I've realized since then is that it's not the information. It's the buddy system. It's the accountability system. It's like, I see you that you've been coming in here 1 month. You haven't lost a pound. What are you doing? And it's that accountability, right? Turn the mirror back on them. And I think that's literally the number one thing. I was watching a Tony Robbins video a couple years ago, and he was saying, like, people are researching who's the best trainer, what's the best workout, and all this stuff. And he says, ma'am, by all due respect, I think you just need someone to get behind you and yell, run. I was laughing like crazy. So I think there's a huge aspect of that. It's just like, it's the accountability partner. And obviously we need to know something, right? We need to know that we're sending them in the right direction. But I think that's super important just to have somebody like, you know, maybe after 6 months, they're like, yeah, am I doing this right? Is this supposed to happen? Like, you know, give me some feedback here. So that kind of stuff. So, but that inevitably leads to, you know, people fall off the wagon, myself included. I'm sure you do too. And like, what do you tell that person? So they've been going for a year and they completely fall off the wagon. Either they're just making poor decisions now, or they're like, I'm done. I don't even want to do this anymore.
So how do I correct people, or how do I encourage them to what's my response?
What's your pep talk?
Oh man. So when they fall off the wagon, right?
Yeah.
And then we got to get them back on track. Everyone does that. So I learned this from Paul Reddick from the East Coast, from New Jersey. And he calls it the 5, 6, 7 thing. I don't know if you heard it, but there's layers that people are willing to open up. And I know you've experienced it. Right. And you know that just like I earlier talked about, it's not always about fat loss. And
exactly,
you know, it's not always about fat loss and weight loss. I just want to be healthy.
Right.
It's like, I just want to say bullshit. If they're my friends, I will say bullshit in their face. Like, bullshit, bro. Come on, tell me what you need. And then, you know, and
all right. I want to look like a movie star. Okay.
Yeah. Or it's usually like, I want to get over this breakup. Like, I'm like, yeah, give it to me. Bring it.
That's
so
real.
Long story short,
we went deep.
There you go. So that's the thing. Like people, if you ask someone, what's their true goal? What are you trying to do? It's I want to lose fat. Okay, why is that? Or what's important about that to you? And it's like, well, because I want to get healthy. And what's important about that to you? Well, because I want to look good. And I'm counting these things. So I'm up to the third question, the third answer. The third answer is like, it's very surface, very on the surface, quick. They don't have to think about it. They already kind of this is what they tell themselves why they're doing what they're doing. Like why they're asking for help, why they think they need to work out, why they think they need to shred because they saw someone on Instagram that they thought was like out of shape and all of a sudden they're doing better than they perceive that they think they're doing. And the fourth time you ask, well, what's important about that to you? Like they kind of fight with it. And usually you kind of get it like, what's important about that to you? Like looking better, feel better, and feel good about yourself. Or it goes like, well, I want to feel good about myself. I want to have more confidence.
Right.
And it's like, well, what's important about that to you?
And then they start.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like you're interrogating them. But that's what I feel like. That's what separates us coaches who truly like care about what we do and are passionate about helping a person and been doing this for years.
Yeah. And
you know, if you can't pull that out of them, how are we going to get them back in action when they fall off the wagon? You know what I mean? We need a reason big enough to them, bigger than what we even like. We care, but it won't impact us enough as it would impact them. So when you ask them a fifth time, the sixth time, and the seventh time, they'll start getting choked up, or they'll do two things. They'll slowly, if they love you, like they like you, they know, like, and trust you, all that stuff, they'll start going into that fifth layer, sixth layer, seventh layer. The fifth layer is like, I just broke up with my significant other. You know, I was in a really bad lifestyle with them, and eventually I want to start my own family, and I need to change my ways right now. And it's like, there you go. There you go. That's what's going to get you up. That's what's going to get you up at 5 a.m. in the morning. Meet my ass here at 5 a.m. to like start doing your workout. Like that's what I have to bring up.
Yeah.
And because that's one way of going about it. The other way of going about it is they'll just go back to the first layer. They'll bounce back up because they're so closed. And you'll see people who are kind of like, they don't want to open up to you yet. And they're like, well, I just want to lose fat.
Right. And they'll go right back down. They don't.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, all right. Like usually if you're, I mean, that's up to your people skills to kind of finesse them and be like, oh, okay, we'll just go back at it when you can. But long story short, that's how it is. So when someone falls off the wagon, I go back to their 5, 6, and 7. And it's like, hey, you missed 2 appointments, bro.
Remember when you told me about da-da-da-da and like, you said you want this?
Do you really want this or what?
Cool. Yeah, I like that. So you're basically getting all your information, your ammunition from day one. you're asking them all the questions like, why do you really want to do this? And then you have that in your toolkit to pull out 6 months, a year later, and you say, hey, remember day one, you told me this, and that's going to help kind of light that fire again in a way.
Yeah. I mean, that's what usually helps.
Yeah. I like that. That's good. So now I'm going to go a little bit deep. This is a good segue because I don't know if this is question 5, 6, or 7, but what about you? So in your own personal experience with your health, what do you struggle with?
Oh, that's a good one. with my own health, right?
With your own personal health, not has nothing to do with your gym or you as a personal trainer or anything, just you as a person.
Oh, dude. Just as a person is anxiety, like overthinking, being hesitant. If I want to go deeper than that, it comes with issues of having a chip on my shoulder. So for me, as health, and I'm taking both mental and a physical approach to health. Physical approach is that I'll work out to feel, to kind of treat, but also better myself mentally. I'm known as the guy who's like the energetic, like, you know, like, why did you call it hyperstrength conditioning? You know, and all because Austin's so hyper. I'm like, that's how I'm known. But
I couldn't tell.
But like when the cameras are off or when I'm not with a client, my wife and my brother actually, and a couple of my close friends, they'll see the real me and I'm always real, but like that's, you know, and I'm sure you could attest to this, where it's like you just want to shut down, you don't want to talk to anyone.
Yeah.
You're just kind of like, and then you get lost in your thoughts.
Yeah.
And my thing is like, because of issues I had in the past when I was growing up, I have a huge chip on my shoulder. In my head, I got a lot of people to prove wrong. I got a lot of like, it's bad. It's like, I think the only person who kind of knows how to get truly under my skin is my brother. My brother can, like, if he really wants to push my buttons, he won't do it, but he'll know to be like, if I'm being stubborn about something, and he'll just be like, you're acting like dad. And I'm like, you need to shut up. You know?
You don't go there.
He's like, hey, you're acting like dad, dude. I'm like, you need to shut up. And then long story short, but that's the thing. And I go to therapy every week. And I truly believe that's something that a lot of people should get into, because as coaches, as personal trainers, we are dealing with a lot of different people from all walks of life. And you've been training since 2004. And I'm sure you training the first 5 years is way different than how you're training now.
Absolutely.
And how you perceived people and how you perceive their personalities. And I feel that since I've been going to, therapy and stuff, it helps you, it opens your eyes into how you can connect with your clients. That's how I feel. And it, again, like we say, when we talk on podcasts, it talks you through your problems and your issues and your thoughts that go through your head. That's what's been helping me, because my 5, 6, and 7, my inner layers is like, I feel like, you know, I'm not good enough, or I'm not doing enough, or just little things like that. And it sounds little, but it just, like, it gets me impulsive. It gets me, you know, it triggers me to do, like, makes rash decisions as far as like, I need to prove them wrong, or I need to overwork. And my biggest problem before was just overworking. Like, you know, I love Gary Vee. Yeah, like that's what he touts.
If you're already an overworker and you're starting to watch him, watch out. You're going to be working 19-hour days.
I mean, like, I listen to Gary Vee too. He gets me going, you know?
Oh, yeah. He'll get you. You could wake up at 2 a.m, listen to him, and then you just start working. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, and trust me. It's like, but I've gotten to the point where my staff would be like, Austin, are you good? And I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good. And then they're like,
that's crazy. Yeah. No, did you play sports growing up at all?
Football?
I mean,
I played a lot of sports as a kid.
Yeah.
Basketball, soccer.
Because Cause I can, yeah. Same. Basketball, soccer, football.
Yeah.
Cause I could really resonate with what you said about the chip on your shoulder. I don't know. If I was really honest, I think maybe I still do. I've done
I still do.
a ton of work with,
I still do. Yeah.
counseling and stuff like that too. And I just remember, like, as you were talking, I remember thinking, I kind of flashed back to, so I guess it was freshman year in high school. And I remember the aggression that I played basketball with. Like, I was the guy who was literally, there was a basketball 10 feet away on the floor, and I would like do a baseball head first slide to grab it, call timeout. That was me, like head first every single time. And it was always like, there was always something to prove. Like, I'm going to out hustle you no matter what happens. I don't care how much more skill you have than I do, but I'm going to out hustle you. That was my mentality. And it's just so funny, that little flashback as you were talking. I was thinking back in the good old days.
But yeah, that's usually where it comes from. It's like I'm going to prove to you that I'm going to be validated.
Yeah, exactly. And I agree 100% with, the more you uncover about yourself, the more you can relate to different types of people who are your clients. And it's funny, like, I would say the 80-20 rule applies with, at least with me. 80% of my clients I have absolutely no problem connecting with. And this is not just my clients now, but like, the 15 years of being a trainer. And then occasionally I'll get this client who comes in, I'm like, I don't get you at all. Like, I just cannot. I'm like, I don't get. So like, and I'm thinking of two,
you, bro.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't
know.
And now, to be honest, like right now, I would say it's 100% and 0. Like, all my clients, I get them, I get their motivation, I get it all. And I think maybe part of that is that I've just become, I don't know, kind of a snob with this, maybe a little bit, but like, I literally told these people that I just didn't jive with. One of them was just, he would work out for 4 hours a day. He'd come in and expect something new every workout. And I'm like, dude, look, I can't do this. Like, this is not, I don't train people like this. There are probably other trainers who do. So I just, I said, you have to go find somebody else. But
yeah.
And I think there are so many trainers out there with so many different modalities and personalities. There's plenty of fish in the sea, so to speak, right? Like, if you're a trainer, you're going to find your ideal client. If you're a client, you're going to find your ideal trainer. They're out there. They're ready, right?
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that.
Nice.
You gotta, what was it? It's like firing clients. You gotta fire a client.
You have to sometimes.
You haven't been in the fitness industry long enough if you haven't had to fire a client.
Yeah.
Like that. Like,
yeah.
That's when you're
scary.
Like, yeah,
it's scary. But when you get to the other side, you're like, well, that was easy, and I feel better, and I'm sure they feel better, and and the other clients feel better. They're like, oh, whatever happened to that guy? And I'm like, oh, I told him he could find another trainer. And they're like, oh, thank God.
It's true though. It's very true.
Yep.
Very true. But yeah, man.
All right. Austin, we're going to finish the show with your 1-minute health monologue / motivational speech. So you've been invited to like you're the graduation speaker at, I don't know, some like anywhere, anyone. Everyone in the audience has their cap and gowns, and you're the speaker. What do you tell them? What do you tell these people about? It could be about life, but weave in health and taking care of yourself into it as far as what your core philosophies are.
Oh man, this is deep. Hold on, man.
This is like layer 7, like you were talking about, right?
And I got 1 minute. Oh God.
I'm not gonna give you a bell. I'll just mute your microphone on my computer. No.
Start playing me off with a symphony. Oh man. Okay. Let's say a keynote speech. I mean, usually the gist of these things, the gist of it, and what I would say right now. Now, I usually think about, what I usually think about? It's like, if when I start having a family, right? When I start having like a son or a daughter, what would I tell them if they learn all the basics of life. They learn how to eat, right? They learn how to not do stupid.
Yep.
What would I tell them? what would I tell them going off into the real world, you know? And I would tell them, like, you have to, above everything, listen to your own heart. And it sounds corny, but you have to be true to yourself through and through in this quest, in this journey that you're about to take.
Yeah.
And you will be confronted with so many obstacles that will leave you questioning your own sanity. You're going to feel like everyone's against you. You're going to feel betrayed. You're going to lose trust in people. You're going to be scarred for life. But it's how you bounce back up, and it's how you fight through that will determine what your character arc will be in this quest, in this story of your own life. You know, that's how it's going to be. You need to understand that you cannot, the way that you will not lose your way is if you take a step and be true to what you truly want to do and who you truly want to be. And that could change from second to second, minute to minute, day to day. But as long as you're being truthful to yourself, if you need help, you need help. If you don't, you don't. If something that you desire quickly changes because X, Y, and Z, you need to acknowledge those things. The moment you start ignoring that, the moment you start trying to be someone you are not, the moment you try to appease people and please them because you feel that their validation counts and it's above all, that's not where it's at. It's your own self-validation. Once you get that dialed in, you've unlocked a very special secret to life.
That's a great pep talk. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
I was like off the top of my head, man.
I know,
like,
that's
oh,
great,
shit.
man. See, hey, just like what you said earlier about how we're kind of talking to ourselves and we're motivating ourselves. So that's great. Yeah.
Dude.
All right, cool. Austin Toloza, thank you so much. Hyper Strength and Conditioning, San Jose, California. Man, thanks for joining me. I really appreciate it. You definitely, what's your podcast called? And shout out your website, everything. How can people find you?
Oh my goodness. Thank you. Yes. Check us out. Nerd Out and Workout Podcast, where we nerd out, work out, and podcast. Apple Podcast or Apple Store, Apple iTunes or whatever. Spotify, Stitcher, Overcast. You can find us there. You can visit our website or my gym's website, hscgym.com. That's hscgym.com. But more so, just come over to the podcast or the Nerd Out Workout Podcast as well, and where we just talk about fandom and fitness.
Nice.
Everything else in between.
Thanks for listening to the Health in the Real World Show. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment down below. Visit mycorebalance.com to learn more.